Imagine that you've been given a choice. You can receive $2 or you can receive $8. Easy choice, right? But wait, before you opt for the $8, know that I only have so much money to hand out. If too many people opt for the $8, we'll run out, and then no one will get anything. In fact, I've offered this option to 100 other people, and I only have enough to give 8 people the $8 and still give everyone else $2. Let's go back to that choice again. You can choose $2 or $8. But if more than 8 people select $8, well, there's no way I can cover everyone, and then no one will get anything. So now, which are you going to choose? What we have here is a social dilemma. We are faced with a choice, one which pits our own self ahead of the group, and one which puts the group ahead of what might be most desirable for ourselves. We can think of these as being pro-self and pro-social, respectively. You see, if we take the $8 option, receiving $8 benefits us more than receiving $2, and we'll just have to hope fewer than 8 other people opt for the same. That way, we walk away with more than all the other folks. On the other hand, if we settle for $2, we may not personally benefit as much, but we are helping ensure that everyone else in the group does get some money. When it comes to distributing limited resources, we face a social dilemma in society. Do we take more resources for ourselves and people like us? Or do we settle for less, knowing that this means more people will get something? When resources are not distributed in a fair and equitable way, we create social injustices. Some folks walk away with far more resources than others, and that can create and sustain inequities. After all, when folks have more resources, they can use those resources to influence and manipulate people, and they likely will do so in a way that helps themselves more than other people. You can help students learn more about social dilemmas and their relationship to social justice by conducting a basic class demonstration, followed by a discussion. Instead of money, though, you can use extra credit points as your limited resource. To set up the demo, inform students that you'll be offering an extra credit opportunity. No need to explain the idea of a social dilemma just yet. We'll get to that later. You'll offer students a similar choice to the one that I offered at the start of this video, such as a choice between having 2 or 8 points added to their exam. Explain that we only have so many extra credit points to distribute. If too many students opt for 8 points, we'll run out. Just the same way I mentioned that I only have so much money to cover everyone's request for either $2 or $8. Let your students know what that limit is so they can make an informed decision. As students make their choice, be sure they are not discussing their decision making with anyone else. They have to come to their own decision. After students have elected their choice, you can reveal the results. If the ballots reveal that enough students exceeded our limit for selecting the higher credit pro-self option, bad news for all. No one gets any extra credit. I'll admit, I've rarely had to divvy out any extra credit points, as there's usually a sufficient portion of students who opt for the pro-self result. But now it is important to discuss their thought process with students. It is helpful to first ask what might have motivated them to opt for the 2 points or 8 points. Next, it's time to define what a social dilemma is and have students generate examples of social dilemmas in the real world. Often their examples start to take on a tone of social and environmental justice. For example, they might bring up social welfare programs and use of natural resources. You can use these examples to ask an introductory course how understanding social dilemmas informs our understanding of people's interest in working towards social justice, or a climate in which resources are fairly and equitably distributed. In upper level courses, take the discussion even further and have students consider how course content might be relevant to social dilemmas. For example, A personality course might consider what traits, needs, or individual differences might prompt someone to make a pro-self or pro-social choice. Likewise, a cross-cultural psychology course might ask about cultural views that shape the decision. A social psychology course could ask these questions, along with asking students to consider situational variables, such as cohesiveness of the group. A cognitive psychology course could even ask about aspects of the decision-making process. And of course, we can go beyond brainstorming variables that shape how we make decisions during social dilemmas. Ask students to research their suggestions and maybe even test those variables. You can really take this simple extra credit opportunity that demonstrates the concept of social dilemmas and go many different directions to fit your class needs. And in the process, you can help your students develop greater insight on how to promote pro-social decision making, which could contribute to a more socially just world.